Bloody terror. Thriller action. Original script. dawoodseeitgooliyou@gmail.com. dawoodseeitgooliyou@outlook.com. dawoodseeitgooliyou. YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. Synopsis. 7 criminals hijack a passenger plane. 6 men and 1 guy dressed as a girl. John Leroy, 50 years old, antihero, former military special forces anti-terrorist, organizer of the plane hijacking. Alex Stone, the hero, is a police investigator. 50 years old, hero, an investigator uncovers a meticulously planned crime. Alec is unable to legally prove the crime and bring the perpetrator to justice. A clash between hero and antihero. Jack, 35 years old, leader and perpetrator of the hijacking. Bloody terror. One story. Int basement morning. Basement. Darkness. Lightening. Table. Black drawer. 2 locks. Gloved hands. Click. Opens the lid. Magazine fits into slot. Machine guns. Grenades. Magazines. Empty drawer. Closes the lid of the drawer. Lid. Nat Airport Square Day. Airport. An airport concourse from above. A row of planes in the distance. In the center is a plane ready for takeoff. The steps of the plane. The last 3 or 4 passengers are climbing the steps. The last passenger, a man in a black business suit, takes his ticket. Jack, 35 years old. A man in a suit. Thank you. Enters the plane. Nat Airport Day. A black armored jeep smashes through the gates and enters the airport grounds. Accelerating at full speed, it drives toward the plane. Int. Seeing off the day at the airport. About 15 people are standing in front of the airport's huge glass windows, almost filling the entire wall. 10 women, 3 men, 1 young man, and 1 old man. The rest of the passengers, those arriving and those preparing to depart, are milling around the hall. Int. Plane cabin day. Alex, a 27-year-old man dressed in women's clothing, sits in the 7th row facing the entrance. Alex watches the passengers board the plane. The last passenger boards and goes to his seat in the back. Alex stands up and walks down the aisle toward the entrance. In the aisle, he bumps into a woman putting her bag in the overhead compartment. She's standing with her backside slightly pressed against the seats to let Alex pass. Alex rubs against her backside and continues down the aisle. The woman turns to look at Alex, surprised. Alex is seen walking away from behind. Int. Seeing off the day. Tom, a man of about 55, wearing black glasses and a red shirt, looks at the plane through the glass of the airport terminal. He glances at his watch, checking the time. He looks at the plane. People are sitting at tables in the cafe and drinking coffee. Int. Entry into the plane day. Alex enters the aisle leading to the plane's entrance. A flight attendant stands in the aisle. Steward closes the plane's door. The flight attendant blocks Alex's way. Stewardess. Excuse me, miss, you need to take your seat. We're getting ready for takeoff. Alex pushes the flight attendant hard in the chest. The flight attendant falls to the opposite side. Steward turns around at the noise. Seeing the woman, he relaxes. Alex hits the steward in the groin. Steward bends over to the floor, grabbing his crotch with both hands. Alex knees him in the face. Steward hits the back of his head on the side of the ship and loses consciousness. Alex opens the door. Int. Airplane staircase day. The steps of the plane. The driver is chewing gum. The sound of an approaching car. The driver stops chewing gum when he sees a black Jeep speeding toward the plane. His eyes widen in surprise. The Jeep stops at the steps. 5 men in black masks jump out of a Jeep, carrying black bags. The Jeep's driver accelerates, placing the load on the gas pedal. The Jeep drives away from the airport without a driver. 4 men run up the ramp. Masked criminals ascend the steps of the plane. They carry bags over their shoulders. As they enter, they hand over a pistol and an Uzi to Alex and Max. The latter 2 carry a dark-colored crate. The box is 1.5 meters by 2 meters. The Jeep driver, pulling a pistol from his bosom, approaches the ramp driver. He points the pistol at the ramp driver, stopping a few steps away. The ramp driver cringes, looking at the masked man. The pistol is pointed at his face. A man in a mask. Do you want to live? The driver nods his head in fear. A man in a mask runs up the ladder without saying anything. A man runs through the plane's doors. The others follow him down the steps. The ramp driver starts the engine and accelerates toward the airport. A masked man stands in the plane's doorway, watching the ramp recede. Nat runway day. An old man is driving a forklift, looking straight ahead. Suddenly he stops. He looks at the broken airport gate. He looks around and can't find the cause of the broken gate. He raises his eyebrows in surprise, staring ahead. Int boy and girl late day. A yellow taxi stops at the airport entrance. A young man and woman run out. Boy. Faster. They rush each other. They open the trunk of the car. The taxi driver helps them quickly unload the luggage. Young woman. All. They grab their suitcases and bags and run into the airport building. Int airport car with luggage day. A driver is driving a cargo ramp. The car is driving along the airport's concrete apron. A co-driver, a young man of about 25, is sitting next to the driver. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a dark-colored Jeep drives toward them. Driver. Where did he come from? Partner. Don't know. Driver. He's coming to us. The partner, looking closely, almost screams. Partner. Yes, he doesn't have a driver. The driver slams on the brakes, stopping a long truck filled with passengers, luggage. A dark Jeep passes a few meters in front of a cargo transport vehicle. Driver. A whole bunch of driverless vehicles, and now they can do whatever they want. There are no rules for them. They watch the Jeep drive away. Int business class day. Max and Alex walk into the business class cabin. The men are wearing ties and business suits. The women are in expensive clothes with diamond and gold jewelry on their fingers and necks. Max and Alex walk down the middle of the cabin toward the cockpit, wearing black masks and holding pistols. The passengers, surprised and confused, follow them with frightened eyes. About 10 business class passengers. One blonde woman, 30 years old. A midget, holding a glass, sits in one of the seats across from them. The midget watches them go by. Max and Alex, wearing black masquerade masks, walk toward the cockpit. Int. Plane Salon Jack the Mask Day. Jack takes a mask from his inside pocket and puts it over his eyes. A woman of about 45 and a man of about 20 sitting next to him exchange glances. The man nods at the woman and smiles mockingly. Int. Cockpit Day. Max and Alex stop in front of the cockpit door. Alex remains at the entrance. Max looks back and enters the cockpit. The door closes. There's a sign on the door. No entrance for unauthorized people. Int. Cockpit Day. Max enters the cockpit. Max points his gun at the pilot. The pilot, not even having time to panic, tries to dodge the gun pointed at him. Shot. Max shoots 2 pilots point blank. Blood. People frozen in indistinct poses. Int. Plane Cabin Jack Colt Day. Alex appears on the plane and, walking down the aisle, hands Jack a pistol. Jack stands up and walks away from Alex. The woman and the young man watch Jack, mesmerized. Nat seeing the day. A young man and woman look through the glass windows at the approaching steps of an airplane. 10 or 15 meters short of the airport building, the steps, driver jumps out from behind the wheel and runs toward the building. The steps, driver runs, waving his arms. The girl addresses the boy. Young woman. Look at this clown. Boy. Oh my. Laughs. Nat Jeep wall crash day. A Jeep drives along the airport platform. The out-of-control vehicle crashes into the airport hay. The cabin of the vehicle is flattened and warped. Smoke and steam. Int passengers day. Masked criminals run into the second salon, armed with machine guns and pistols. Alex. Head on knees. Everyone looked up. The passengers in the cabin looked up and stared at the intruders in amazement and confusion. Max. Head on knees. Seeing the machine guns in the hands of the masked men, many kneel. About 5 people sit, confused and surprised, their heads up. Max shoots a black man. The bullet hits him in the throat. He falls to his side, leaning against the man sitting next to him. Everyone else huddles on their knees. Max walks down the salon corridor. Legs. A black man. Max passes by a white guy with long hair, on whom a shot black man is leaning. Blood is seeping onto the white guy. His collar is bloody. Blood is dripping from the fingers of the dead man's hand, which is lowered to the floor. A pool of blood is on the floor. A drop of blood from a finger falls into the pool of blood. Airport control day. The airport manager enters the control tower. A woman is walking next to him. There are 7 people at a desk in the control tower. He picks up the phone. Airport start. The airport manager is listening. Man. In a mask. Look out the window. The airport manager is watching. Airplane. Door to the plane. A masked man shoots a hostage in the head and pushes him down. The airport supervisor watches. The human figure falls. The airport supervisor's eyes widen in horror. Airport start. Oh my God. Man. In a mask. I've hijacked a plane. I'll kill a hostage every 5 minutes. My terms are $100 million, and I'll release every single child. All the money is in $100 bills. 5 bags of $20 million each. I'm waiting for the money. The connection was disconnected. Airport start. Wait, I want to ask. Short beeps. He puts the phone down. Int. Passage in the airplane day. The flight attendant swirls coffee with a spoon. Alex enters, stopping behind. The flight attendant turns to Alex. Stewardess. I was told to make coffee. The flight attendant takes a cup of coffee in her hand. Alex takes the cup of coffee from the flight attendant and puts it back on the table. He pins the flight attendant against the cabinet. Runs the back of his hand across the stewardess's face. She stands tensely, waiting. Alex leans towards her to kiss her on the lips. She pulls away hesitantly. Alex pushes her against the wall and begins unbuttoning the flight attendant's blouse. She takes his hands cautiously, frightened. Alex yanks the blouse open, revealing her breasts. She breathes deeply. He caresses her breasts with one hand, while the other rips off her panties. Alex lifts the flight attendant off the floor. She wraps her arms around Alex's neck. Alex kisses her on the lips. She grabs Alex from behind. Alex rips off her fake breasts. Int waiting room day. Officer. Soldiers in camouflage uniforms rush into the waiting room. Some stand by the doors as the officer orders. He positions others against the walls. The soldiers run and disperse across the airport. Int guy and girl registration day. Check-in counter. A young man and a young woman. A young woman in an airport employee uniform stands at the check-in counter, explaining to a young man and woman who are late for their flight. Worker. No. Check-in is already over. Passengers are already on board. The plane is already preparing for takeoff. Boy. We were only 5 minutes late. Girl. Maybe someone can solve this problem. Worker. I apologize, but it's too late. No one can stop the pallet anymore. Nat Airport Day. Ambulances arrive and stop at the airport entrance. Medics in white coats run out and into the airport building. Int entrance to the airport day. Police are maintaining order by cordoning off the entrance to the airport. Journalists crowded at the entrance. Police formed a human cordon, preventing anyone from entering the airport building. Int. Guy and girl cafe stand day. A young man and woman are standing at the counter of a cafe, sad and confused about their late flight. Men in military uniforms, carrying machine guns, rush into the airport lounge. Young woman. What's happening? Boy. I don't know, but it's something serious. There is a worried expression on their faces. Int around the airport day. Soldiers jump out of the approaching trucks. They form a line, taking up positions for fire. They encircle the airport. Armored vehicles pull up. Several vehicles are on each side of the airport. 8 soldiers jump out of the vehicles and spread out around the armored vehicles, choosing a favorable firing position. Int airport roof day. Snipers on the roof of a building. 2 men each lie comfortably positioned. One has a sniper rifle, the other a large pair of military binoculars on a stand. One is making a sign to the other that only they understand. The other makes the letter O with his index finger and thumb. NAD Airport Corridor Day. ALIK walks accompanied by 2 men in suits. Ali runs up to Alec. Ali. Sorry, I wanted to ask. I wanted to know. The guys walking next to Alec don't let Ali finish. Ali is roughly pushed aside. Int Dispatch Day. The control room. Alec enters, accompanied by 2 guys. There are 6 men and 1 woman in the control room. Some are standing. Others are sitting at a table. The airport manager stands up and shakes Alec's hand. Alec sits down at the table, looking out the window at the plane parked on the tarmac. ALIK. So what did you decide? The head of the capture group gets up from the table and answers Alec. Head of the capture group. Chief, the airport is cordoned off. ALIK. Okay then. Head of the capture group. There's no exact information. According to the ramp driver, they have 4 large bags. 1 large box, 1.5 by 2 meters. They could hold as much as they want. One of those sitting. They won't succeed. Head of the capture group. They work too smoothly, as if they had been doing this all their lives. ALIK. What do you want to say? Head of the capture group. Professionals. They work confidently. They dictate their terms. ALIK. It's all decided. We're waiting for the money. We'll exchange the children and then the seizure. Be prepared. You understand me? Head of the capture group. Yes. ALIK. The main thing is the children. No one will forgive us for the children, ever. Especially since they themselves offered to give the children away. How many of them are there? Head of the capture group. 12. ALIK. A good number. He is thinking about something of his own, looking absently ahead towards the plane. NAD Bank Building. Day. Bank Building. Sign. National Bank. Glass doors. Bank backyard. Helicopter. 5 people are loading 4 large bags and a black box into the helicopter. 5 men in suits climb into the helicopter and take their seats. The helicopter takes off. Int. Passage in the airplane day. A man in a carnival mask stands in the aisle, leaning his back against the wall. He's smoking. His hand, holding the cigarette, rises to his mouth. He takes a drag. On the opposite wall is a round sign with a crossed-out cigarette. No smoking. He exhales smoke directly onto the sign. The smoke envelops the sign on the wall. NAD Airport Runway Day. A military truck pulls up from the opposite side of the airport. A satellite dish is mounted on the roof. The soldiers inside begin adjusting their equipment, responding to commands into microphones. The captain, standing in the center of the vehicle, speaks into the microphone. Captain. Ready to work by 7. The captain listens intently to what is being said to him in the earpiece. After a pause, he speaks into the microphone. Captain. Yes, that's right. Int. Plane cabin day. A man in a mask walks down the aisle. He approaches and lifts one man up. Stand up. Wife sitting next to a man. Leave him alone. A woman is sitting nearby. He pushes her back and leads the hostage to the exit, the woman sobbing in fear. Int. Plane cabin day. A masked man stands in the aisle, leaning his back against the wall with his eyes closed. He hears a woman sobbing. The masked man leans away from the wall and walks down the aisle. The sound grows louder. Sobbing. The woman is sobbing hysterically. The masked man approaches the woman and points a gun at her. He fires. She slumps in her seat and freezes. The other passengers on the plane cower and bend over their knees. Journalist reports day. A journalist holds a microphone against the backdrop of an airport. The journalist stands in front of a video camera and reports on the hijacking of an airplane. Journalist. Breaking news. We just received a message from reliable sources. An airplane was hijacked at the airport. The civilian aircraft was en route. Was scheduled to. We do not yet have information about the number of people on board the plane. The military has cordoned off the airport. Our elite Alpha capture team is overseeing negotiations with the terrorists. A special forces major has already managed to negotiate an exchange of 12 children aboard the hijacked plane. The terrorists are willing to exchange the children for $100 million. The entire amount will be in $100 bills. In my opinion, our special forces are trying to stall for time to prepare and quickly capture the aircraft. But the terrorists are threatening to shoot hostages every 5 minutes until the money is delivered. We will keep you informed of further developments at the airport. Until we meet again. The operator holding the video camera raises his hand up, turning off the camera. Dispatch day. The control tower. Alec face, sitting at the table. People are sitting at the table. A watch on his wrist. From under the table, second hands. Alec looks at the clock hanging on the wall. Those sitting nearby, following his example, look at the wall clocks. On the wall is a row of clocks showing different times in different countries. Wall clocks. Second hands, working in sync, in a single rhythm. 7 seconds to 5 minutes. Alec turns to the plane when the second hand on all the clocks points to 0. Nat plane day. An airplane. A masked man stands in the airplane door. A hostage stands nearby. He points a gun at the hostage's head. A shot is fired. The man's body falls. The masked man spreads his arms out to the sides, holding a gun in one hand. Dispatch day. From the control room window. A man's body falls onto the corpses lying below. Alec watches. Alec's eyes narrow with anger. Everyone sitting at the table turns their heads away. Door dispatch day. A lieutenant runs into the control room. 2 men in black suits join him as they throw open the control room doors. Lieutenant. The money has been delivered. The doors to the control room swing open and 4 men in black suits with large dark bags in their hands run into the dispersion room and put the bags on the floor. The lieutenant stands in the middle of the control room, pointing to the bags. One of the men carrying the bags leans over them, unzips the bag, and reveals the money. Stacks of cash in single-use bags. Everyone in the control room stands and stares at the money. Plane day. Airplane cabin. In the corridor between the cabins, several men place a large black bag on the floor. They unzip it. Inside the bag is a gas canister. They pull out one end of a hose and thread it into the passenger cabin. Chief of Dispatch day. The airport manager speaks into the telephone receiver. Airport chief. The money is ready, do you hear me? Criminal. 100 million. Airport chief. Yes, the money is ready. The criminal's face in a mask. Criminal. 2 people. A guy and a girl. Bags on a trolley. Let them go. Remember the children. Nat runway day. The airport's glass doors leading out onto the runway open. A man pushes a cart. Large bags are on the cart. A girl is walking next to him. They are heading towards the airport. Plane cabin day. On a plane, a man in a black mask addresses the passengers. Masked man. Our conditions have been met. Therefore, we are releasing the children. Their relatives are waiting for them in the airport lounge. If no one causes any problems for us, casualties can be avoided. Keep your heads down. Keep quiet, for the sake of your children. Children. The criminals on the plane begin to collect children. Nat at the airplane day. A young man and woman approach a plane. A pile of male corpses lies beneath the plane's entrance door, piled on top of each other. The woman, seeing a pool of blood flowing from beneath the pile of corpses, turns away in disgust. She crosses to the other side of the luggage rack. The man passes and stops next to the corpses. The man's shoes are just centimeters from the pool of blood. Int Boy and Girl Day. In the airplane cabin. A mother is sitting in a seat on the airplane cabin. She is instructing a boy of about 8 and a girl of about 12. Mother. Hold hands. Don't let go. Dad will meet you. Eva, watch him. Don't let go of him. The girl nods her head. Anna. Okay, Mom. A masked man standing nearby grabs them by the shoulders and pushes them towards the exit of the plane. Nat entry to the plane day. A man in a mask throws a rope with a hook at the end. He nods his head, indicating the hook. The guy takes the hook and hooks the bag by the handles. The masked man pulls the bag upward. Int. Dispatch day. Alec, 6 men, and 1 woman stand silently in front of the airport's huge control tower window, looking toward the plane. The woman wants to say something. Alec raises his hand and index finger, demanding silence. Int. Aircraft compartment day. The bag opens. One of the masked men, with a practiced motion, tears the paper tape off a wad of bills. He flips through the bills with his thumb. He takes the sensor in his hand. He aims the ultraviolet rays at the money. He nods to one of the men standing nearby, wearing a black mask. An open drawer stood nearby, into which he began to tossing the fun bricks of money. Airport Int. Hall day. Ali paces back and forth in despair. Suddenly, he bumps into a wall. His head hits the wall, and then he grabs the wall with his hands. His hands fall down. He stands there, his head pressed against the wall. His hands clench into fists. Nat Children's Liberation Day. A masked man appears in the aisle of the plane. He turns around. His back is revealed. A child appears in the criminal's arms. Holding the child by the clothes, he throws him down onto the corpses. The boy and girl stand stunned. They exchange glances and rush toward the child. The masked man throws the second child onto the corpses and turns for the third child. The second child rolls over the corpses, sliding through the bloody liquid. The woman begins to gather the children and, lifting them to their feet, push them in the direction of the airport. The criminal throws down one child at a time. The man picks it up and passes it to the girl. 3 children running towards the airport building had already reached halfway. Nat Thermal Imaging Day. Soldiers at the controls of a special vehicle are watching the plane. An officer leans over a soldier, watching a television monitor. From a distance, they scan the people on the plane. Red silhouettes moving around the plane are visible on the monitor screen. Nat Lilliput Day. One of the thrown down midgets. A young man grabs the midget by his clothes and sets him down on solid ground. The midget stands there, staggering and confused, unsure of what to do next. The midget is about 40 years old. The girl quietly counts the children, 7 to 8, and grabs the midget and lifts him to his feet, pushing him after the running children. The midget, confused and stunned by what's happening around him, joins the other children running toward the airport. Nat Airplane Door Day. A masked man watches children running toward the airport. Anna and Andre are in the middle, holding hands. A boy and a girl are running last. Nat Launch Site Day. Among the children running toward the airport is a small midget, joyful and surprised by his unexpected rescue. He runs, looking back. A midget's face fills the entire screen. A smile fills the entire screen. In central doors of the airport day. People are greeting the children at the airport. The airport doors are wide open. Some medical workers are wrapping the children in blankets. Others are wiping away blood. Relatives and friends are kissing and asking about their caregivers left on the plane. They are asking about their well-being and health, feeling and examining the children. Anna runs up to her father. They hug. Steve is kneeling. Anna. Dad. Anna said, stepping back. Anna. Mom wasn't allowed in. Steve. Everything is fine, our mom is big. A nurse approaches. Nurse. The children are fine. Father, rising from his knees. Steve. Yes, yes, thank you. I'm the father. Everything is fine. Nurse. If anything, we are nearby. Steve. Okay, thank you. The nurse steps aside. Andre is standing nearby. Steve rises from his knees, looking at his son. He smiles and extends his hand. The boy slaps his father's hand with his palm. Andre. I was never afraid. The father smiles at his words. Alec passes by and looks at the girl's clothes. They're stained with blood. There are two guys nearby. Steve turns to Alec and, holding out his hand, says, Steve. Please forgive me. Thank you for everything. Alec shakes his hand and answers. Steve gently shakes Alec's hand. Alik. No need to thank me. This is my job. Alec looks at the children. Eva stands, pressed against her father. Andre stands nearby. Steve. What about the rest of the hostages? He pauses, remembering the children. He turns his gaze to the children. Alec's face darkens. Alik. We are negotiating. Looking away, he continues walking. The two guys standing nearby follow Alec. Nat takeoff day. The plane door closes. The plane begins to taxi and gain speed. The plane's wheels. The airport manager's assistant runs up. Assistant to the airport manager. Chief, they're taking off. They want. Alec and the assistant jump up and run toward the control room doors. They run into the control room. A caller is on the phone. Negotiator. What you propose to do is create a danger for passengers. We are ready to accept any conditions. Alec listens, breathing intermittently after running. Negotiator. There is fog over the ocean. It cannot accept you. Any other airport will accept you. Can you hear me? Alik. Let us know. We're flying after them. Airport manager. Fog solid fog weather center warning. What do they want? They're not suicidal. Alec is packing his things. On the table are cigarettes, a lighter, and keys. Alik. They have their own well thought out plan. The fog is one link. They want to escape in the fog. Airport manager. How? Alik. I don't know yet. We are flying on a military fighter jet. 3 people are standing in black clothes. Alik. Let's circle around to the cloudless side. We'll intercept them there. They run out the airport door. Nat Airport site evening. About 7 people are running. The capture group. Camouflage. Towards the departing plane. Alec is running after them. A little behind. Alec runs. And suddenly stops. His gaze freezes on the corpses. He stands there, his gaze frozen. Looking at the corpses. A red pool of blood spreads out, taking the shape of some kind. Beast. Alec raises his head to the sky. He looks at the plane as it moves away. He takes off and runs after the others. Fighter. Ladder. Guys in camouflage uniforms help Alec climb into the fighter's cockpit. The fighter's cockpit. Boarding the plane. The hatch closes. Int. Plane cabin day. Airplane cabin. A gas cylinder. A hose runs from the cylinder into the airplane cabin. A stream of escaping gas. Everyone in their seats sits poisoned, their heads bowed. Jack and everyone else are standing in breathing masks. The camera goes from the cylinder through the cabin to the captain's cabin. Jack puts the plane on autopilot. His 2 masked assistants sit in a chair, shot and killed, motionless. Jack turns and walks into the salon. The salon doors are open. Jack's face is in the frame. He walks down the aisle next to Eddie and rips off his mask as he goes. Eddie chokes, clutching his throat with his hands, and dies, falling to the floor. On the opposite side is a masked partner. Jack shoots him. Jack walks through the cabin, holding a gun. Alex, a man in women's clothing, sees the gun pointed at him, looks up at Jack in amazement. Jack shoots Alex. Alex falls. He shoots his partner standing next to him at the back of the plane. Walking through the salon. The curtain closes. Nat jet plane pallet cloud no. A jet plane in the sky. Flying towards Hawaii. Clouds. Chewy. Alec is sitting in the co-pilot's seat. Lightning. Alec is looking out the window. Int. Luggage compartment hatch. Jack is in the lower part of the plane. A cash box. Stacks of cash. Jack takes out one of the hefty stacks of cash. With a sharp knife, he cuts the waterproof bag in the background. He takes the stacks of cash from the bag and scatters them. He cuts one stack and throws it up over his head. $100 bills fly around, covering the area like a green carpet. John closes the box lid. The money is packed in lard-colored plastic bags. The bottom cover of the plane is open. Jack closes the lid and pushes the lever handle down. Nat plane box falls into the ocean. The hatch. The bottom of the plane opens and a box flies out. The box flies into the ocean. Nat Hawaii Airport runway morning. Hawaii Airport. Fog over the ocean. No fog on land. Alec and the assault team. Medics. Police. Waiting. Cordons. Waiting. Alec looks at his watch. Dad's gold watch with a safety bracelet. An airplane appears from the clouds. One of the people standing there becomes impatient. Speaks. One assistant. No. Alec looks at the plane. The other man standing nearby takes a couple of steps forward. Two assistant. Oh my God, where is he? One of the assistants jumps up and runs towards the ambulance. The plane takes off and flies further away from the airport. From the runway, everyone standing waiting in the cordon run to their cars. They start their cars and drive off, heading toward the plane. A farmer is working in a field on a tractor. Seeing a plane flying low over the ground, he stops and looks up at the sky. The farmer watches the plane fly toward the cliffs. The plane crashes into a rock. Airport. People's faces. Alec eyes. Alec jumps up and runs to his car. Special forces. The men get into their cars and drive off toward the plane. Nat plane Jack parachute jump morning. An airplane. An open hatch in the luggage compartment. Jack with a parachute over his shoulders. Fog. Dawn. A jump. Jack flies down. Clouds in the sky. The parachute opens in flight. Jack hangs by the parachute in the air. A prolonged flight. Wind. Falling into the water. A splash of water. Nat Hawaii Airport disaster morning. Mountain range. Trees in greenery. The car stops at the edge of the forest. Trees. The special forces jump out of the car. Alec jumps out of the car. Wreckage of the plane. Work is underway. The first responders are trying to find survivors and provide first aid. Alec walks through the rubble. A look, slow and numb. Burning. Stench. Smoke. Debris. Fragments. Earth blackened with soot. Reaches the center. Stops in front of the burning plane. Firefighters extinguish the burning ground. Foam and water. Alex stands looking at the plane, burning and mangled. No wings, no tail. No cockpit. Scattered here and there are charred, blackened $100 bills. Shards of shapeless objects. A glass, a piece of a plate, a scorched seat, and so on. Nat Targle Center Remembrance Day. Memories. A huge shopping mall in the city center. A white marble, 3-story shopping mall made entirely of glass and concrete. A black car drives up and stops in the parking lot in front of the shopping center. Alec, his wife and 12-year-old daughter get out of the car. They come out. Mary and Linda. Mary. Dad. Alec. I'm just going to get some cigarettes. You'll be hanging around the store for half the day anyway. Mary grimaced, letting her father know that she didn't really like this remark. Alec smiled back, trying to ease the tension. Mary waved back. Linda and Mary walk to the shopping center, crossing the road. Alec approaches a kiosk on the side of the road and takes money out of his pocket. Hands money to the guy at the counter. Alik. A pack of cigarettes. Alec opens a pack of cigarettes, takes out one, lights it and clicks the lighter. Walks back to the car. Before reaching the car, the first explosion. An explosion in the shopping center building. Alec stops. The cigarette smokes between the fingers of the hand. A second powerful explosion. The walls of the building collapse. Alec eyes. Face. The building is collapsing like a house of cards. Rubble. The blast wave reaches Alec. A cloud of dust. A stench of smoke and smoke. The breeze from the blast wave lifts the hem of the suit. Alec throws down his cigarettes and runs towards the building. Runs up to the building. Chunks of twisted concrete and metal. A building with no entrance or exit. Alec clutches his face. Screams. Scream. Alec comes to his senses. Stands in the middle of the rubble. Plane wreckage is scattered all around. Smoke and soot. Here and there, the half-burned remains of shapeless objects still smolder. Here and there, half-burned, blackened $100 bills lie. Among the scattered chairs, clothes, an umbrella, and shapeless objects. In the middle of the ashes lies a charred doll with white, but slightly charred, hair and blue eyes staring skyward. Int Police Discussion Analysis Day. A plot. A long table. A discussion is underway. Sitting at the table are 9 men and 1 woman. Boss. 10 minutes before approaching the islands, the plane switched to autopilot. Prior to this, the plane had been switched on and off autopilot several times, and its course had been adjusted, indicating that someone was flying the plane. There were no interruptions before landing. The engine was functioning properly until the moment of impact. This is according to the black box. The passengers were sedated before the impact with the mountain. They were apparently sedated to avoid any problems with the passengers. Then they lost control, especially since there was complete fog. They crashed into a cliff. That's it. The boss stood up from his seat. Null Nik. Well, that's what I think. It was an accident. We failed the mission. If no one has any questions, one thing justifies us. We saved the children. Alec deserves all the credit for that. All eyes at the table turned to Alec. Many nodded their heads in approval. Boss. Yes, Susan is responsible for all information policy. No one else has the right to comment or explain. We will stick to the official version. We have no right to play on the feelings of the relatives of the deceased. For us, this tragedy is over, but for them, it's only just begun. Now they will have to live with this for the rest of their lives. The boss turned to Alec. Boss. Alec, you have no questions. Alec turned to the boss and, looking him in the eyes, answered. Alik. No. Boss. I consider this case closed and am handing it over to the Air Accident Investigation Commission. That's all. Alec is in the frame. Silent, looking at the table. Boss. Everyone is free. The boss is heading towards the exit. Everyone sitting at the table comes out one by one and two by two, collecting sheets of paper and folders with documents from the table. Alex sits alone, looking at the board. Alex was left alone in the office. He stood up and walked over to the board. Eyes. He was thinking about something. Int boat John search Jack Day. Ocean. Fog. Silence. Suddenly, a sound broke the silence. The faint sound of a motorboat. In the silence, through the fog, the silhouette of a large rubber boat began to emerge. A man in a raincoat and hat stood alone at the helm of the rubber boat. Suddenly, in the fog, John noticed the light of a flammable incendiary flare. John steered the boat toward the flare. The rubber boat drifted toward Jack, who was floating in the water. Jack threw the flaming flare aside and grabbed the edge of the boat. John grabbed Jack's hand and pulled him into the boat. Jack scrambled over the edge and climbed into the boat. He collapsed to the bottom of the boat, breathing heavily. Jack. Why is it taking so long? John. Pagoda. John turned the throttle. Int house bedroom Steve kids evening. Home. Steve stands at the bedroom door. His daughter and son are sleeping in the children's bedroom. He holds a phone in his hand. Steve dials the numbers. The phone rings. Someone on the other end picks up the receiver. Steve. Yes, Mom. I know. Yes. I put them to bed. Yes. It's okay. Yes. Yes. They're tired. Everything's fine. Good. Yes. I'm on the morning flight. Good. Yes. A special flight. All the relatives. No, they didn't find the body. The plane fell apart. Good. Steve looked at the children and went to his bedroom. Steve. Yes. I'll try to sleep. Okay. I'll hold on. I understand, Mom. Okay. That's what I wanted. I'll leave the kids with you until I fly back. Okay. Thank you. Good night. Steve stopped by the bed. He put the phone on the nightstand and stood by the bed, looking at the bed. The wall clock ticked peacefully in the dimly lit room. Standing by the bed and looking at the empty bed sheet, Steve's features contorted. Steve lay down face down on the empty bed and scrunched the top sheet into balls with his fingers. Nat Boat John box search day. John holds a compass-like device in his hand. The rubber dinghy slows, and John turns off the engine. Standing in the middle of the boat, he presses the orange round button on his device. He glances at his wristwatch, noting the time. He stands and waits, watching the lapping waves of the ocean. After about 10 or 15 minutes, the water a few meters from the rubber dinghy begins to boil and churn. A dark iron box with two large, inflated, cone-shaped balloons on either side appears on the surface. The man lowers his hand with the instrument down. Jack rises from the bottom of the dinghy and stands next to him, looking at the floating box. The two men stand there, staring at the box in silence. Nat int Marine Pier Disperskaya Day. Marine Dispatch. Alec enters the Marine control room. The assistant lieutenant of the Maritime Pier security guard walks alongside him. In the control room, a guy at the desk is handing out papers. Dispatcher. It's been bad weather all week, and for the last 4 days, it's been solid fog. Today, it's like none of that happened. All the yachts returned on time. Before the fog set in, only 2 yachts were the last to arrive in this square, Albatross and White Pearl. The guy clicked on the computer keyboard. Alex took the papers and headed for the exit. Alec leaves the building and walks along the overpass towards the yachts lined up in a row. Alec. How much is here? Lieutenant. More than 100. Alec. And only 2 came last. Lieutenant. Yes. Many people don't go to sea for weeks or months. Alec looked questioningly at his assistant. Lieutenant. Well, many yacht owners are busy people, and only from the outside it seems to everyone that they spend all day relaxing on their yachts. Alec. And some yacht could then go out to sea unnoticed. Lieutenant. No. Club security will not let you out without proper command. A GPS navigator on board each yacht transmits location information. ALIK. And there are rubber inflatable boats. LEYTINATT. Yes, everyone has them. They use them instead of lifeboats. Alec and the assistant lieutenant from the pier security stopped at the yacht Albatross and the White Pearl. On the deck of the White Pearl yacht there stood a floor polisher, scrubbing the deck with a foot brush. The lieutenant turns to the floor polisher. Lieutenant. And where is the owner? Floor polisher. Coming soon. Lieutenant. You should have been working for a long time. Floor polisher. No. Second day. I'll finish tomorrow. Lieutenant. And I saw the owner of the Albatross. Floor polisher. Yes. He's gone for supplies. He's heading out to sea tomorrow. The weather has cleared. The fishing will be good after the storm. A south wind has started blowing. A black Maybach pulls up to the pier. 2 bodyguards jump out and open the passenger door. A man of about 35 steps out. A guy and two bodyguards, big, broad-shouldered guys, are heading towards the yacht. The floor polisher speaks. Floor polisher. And here comes the owner. The car turns around and drives away. The guy, accompanied by two bodyguards, approaches the yacht and they cross the bridge onto the yacht. The lieutenant says hello. Lieutenant. Hello. I'm a naval police lieutenant. This is senior criminal investigator Alec Stone. The guy stops on the deck and turns to the lieutenant and asks. Yacht owner. There are problems. Lieutenant. No problem. Just a routine check. Yacht owner. I see. Can I help with anything? Lieutenant. No. We will contact you if necessary. The owner of the yacht. Fine. The young man walked forward and began descending into the cabin. Two bodyguards followed him. One of them was holding a briefcase. Alec leaned slightly and read the inscription, "Nearby yachts Albatross." Alec turned around and walked back. Int room Alec news balcony but night. A hotel room. Alec is sitting on the couch, watching TV. In front of Alec is a glass with a drink. A pistol in a holster lies on the edge of the table. A phone lies on the table in front of him. A news program is playing on the TV screen. They are reporting on a civilian airliner that crashed. A woman with a microphone in her hand is broadcasting from the wreckage. They are saying that the criminals, terrorists, who hijacked the civilian airliner were unable to control the plane and took the lives of innocent people. The journalist points the microphone closer to Susan's mouth. Susan begins to speak. Alec abruptly gets up from the couch, takes the glass with the drink in his hand, and goes to the balcony. He goes out onto the balcony. Before his eyes opens the burning, shimmering night of Honolulu. Nat Otter Paradise Writer Conversation Day. Alec drives up to the hotel in a black car. There's a sign in large letters on the multi-story building. Paradise. Alec parked among the cars. He got out, holding a thick red book in his hand, and walked toward the building's main entrance. The book's title was also in red, outlined in bold black. Bloody Terror. He asked the person listening at the entrance, showing his ID. The employee pointed in the direction of the hotel. Alec walked toward it. The beach was packed with people. Old and young, children, and women. Literally every sun lounger was occupied. Everyone was dressed in colorful clothes under large beach umbrellas. Alec approached one of the tables in the hotel courtyard. He addressed a 55-year-old man sitting at the table. David had an open laptop at the table. ALIK. David Balkan. David. Yes. ALIK. Alec Stone. Alec extended his hand. David. Oh yes. Please sit down. They shook hands. Alec sat down in a chair and placed a completely red book on the table. David looked at the book and then at Alec. ALIK. I found out that you were here. I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time. David. I was waiting for you. ALIK. I'm a little late. I don't get out of Los Angeles often. David. Me too. Only when I'm terribly tired. Hawaii is paradise. I feel at peace here. I'd like to die here. ALIK. Thinking about death. David. Only the dead do not think about death. David looked towards the ocean. Alec followed his example. The hotel clerk brought beer on a tray. David. Thanks, Jim. Jim. Please. The employee left. ALIK. Yes, but I'm here for a different reason. David. Yes, I heard. It's a terrible tragedy. David rose up in his chair and began to look closely at Alec. ALIK. I read your book, Bloody Terror. You know, almost everything about terrorism. It's a true documentary story. David looked at the book and turned his gaze to Alec. David. Yes. Based on documentary facts. Alec took a pen out of his pocket and clicked it onto the book. Alec squinted and looked at David and asked, "Alik. So what do you think about this tragedy?" David took a pen and opened the cover, signed. He closed the book and put the pen on the book. "David. You already know the answer to your question. You just came to hear it from me again." Alik. "And what?" "David. Money. One or two, or several of them survived. More likely one. Only one person can hide their true story until their death. There are no witnesses. No one can blackmail you or control you. No one can bring you to justice. Do you know how many criminals escape punishment in this world? Only because only one person knows the truth. Himself. And apart from him, no one will ever know anything." Alik. "This means he parachuted out while approaching the island." "David. Haven't you thought about it yourself?" Alik. "Yes, but I don't have any proof." "David. That's how he planned it." Alik. "Are so many deaths worth this money?" "David. Money. Everything in this world is done for money. People build, love, hate, kill, rob, and steal. They conquer foreign territories. They subjugate other planets. All because of money. Politicians, economists, presidents, and sheikhs squabble over money. People wake up and fall asleep because of money. Everything is for money. Power, glory, palaces, and temples, everything passes. Everything collapses. Everything turns to dust. Only money does not lose its weight and remains forever." Alec slowly rose from his seat, picked up a pen, and put it in his pocket. Silently, he extended his hand to David. They shook hands. Alex took the red book and walked across the hotel's concrete, marble floor to his car. Nat Guy and Girl Sport Day. Los Angeles. Star-studded carpet. Garlands. Masquerade. Something's going on the most famous street in the world. A young man and woman walk down the street in a crowd of passers-by, stepping on the stars of famous film stars. Shops, cafes, restaurants. The main street is crowded. A presentation is underway. A new star is being placed on the Walk of Fame. The boy and the girl walk around the crowd. Boy. "Well, now I can't rest." Young woman. "Yes, I can, but I won't fly there." Boy. "The vacation time will be wasted." Young woman. "No problem, we'll relax at home. Our beaches are just as good." She turns to him as she walks and turns around to continue walking. Boy. "Let's change our tickets and we'll be in Honolulu by evening. Sunbathing on the beach." The guy spread his arms out to the sides, showing how it should be. The girl stopped abruptly in front of the guy. Young woman. "You understand, you idiot, we should be dead by now. We would have burned alive by now." The girl stopped and screamed in his face. The boy stopped too. They stood silently, looking at each other in the crowd of people walking and looking back at them. INT Police Office Chief Map Day. The Glass Police Department building. Glass partitions. Alex sits in his assigned office. On the table in front of him was a pile of papers. On the corner of the table was an hourglass. Alec turned the hourglass over and watched the sand fall, filling the delicate container. Suddenly, Alec's gaze fell on a map hanging on the wall directly in front of him. He stood and walked over to the map. He stood there, looking at the map with its arrows and lines drawn on it. To be continued. Alec figures out who organized the hijacking of the plane. Nat Barrag House Yacht Pistol Evening. INT Policia Camicia Rasbor Alec Night. Nat Beach E Stokata Conversation Shot Day. End.